looking for any words of encouragement, direction, or a reality check to provoke a ceasefire so he's not sleeping on my couch. He called an hour ago, had a sexual affair for months. She apparently contacted his wife today. Wife wants him gone when she returns from work. He has a car and the essentials. He has been my boyfriend since first grade, though he hit on some of my girlfriends long ago. He is in shock now, so I said, get your things together, drive someplace to let it all sink in, figure out your next step, and call if you think I can help with anything. I am in the middle of final exams. I want to be there for him briefly, but cannot let shock stage drama into my head right now. They are both dramatic and opposed to therapy. She has borderline personality disorder traits, so naturally I want no association with the fallout. Any quick tips to productively deflect him and help him calm his own storm? Update. I did not let him stay last night and will not going forward. He slept in his car. We spoke briefly this morning. I confronted him about his compulsive and addictive behavior. I told him directly how it damaged our friendship in the past and the lives of others. He was deeply regretful and repeatedly took ownership of his choices, which he identified as terrible. He was sincere and troubled, but I offered little sympathy. Never trust an addict's penance at their bottom. They are not in control. I reminded him how successfully he rebuilt his life after alcohol years ago, and I hoped that proof of strength will serve him well this time. I told him I am not surprised his demons have re-emerged, and the battle is his, no one else's. I implored him to seek professional psychiatric help. He said if I call him in the future, he would be there but did not expect me to put him ahead of anything in my own life. I will not. I think that is as well as things could go. I established my emotional distance and am pressing forward with finals. Wish me luck. Thanks for everyone's thoughts. This is basically my first Reddit post. The range of clear, conflicting, compassionate, and occasionally detached reasoning in Reddit responses is kind of a baptism by fire and appreciated. Story 1. The fact that he has tried to poach multiple partners of yours should tell you everything you need to know about his character. Now, he has betrayed the one person in this world that a man swears an oath to protect and cherish. Imagine what he would do to you if he thought it would benefit him. Story 2. I hate to say it, but your friend got himself into this situation, and he needs to get himself out of it. Tough love and hard work for a few months will really help someone recover from their poor choices. Story 3. Your examinations are more important than this drama. Tell him to call you in 2 weeks, and you will see what you can do. Story 4. My best friend hit on a couple of my girlfriends long ago, too. I forgave him. He was having marriage troubles. He had sex with my wife when she was too drunk to consent. Let the cheater face the consequences. Cut your losses before he does damage to your relationship. Story 5. I may not end the friendship right away if I were in your shoes, but he will definitely not be sleeping on my couch. However, I would reconsider being friends with him if I were you. Story 6. Do not participate in any bad-mouthing of the wife. If they get back together, anything negative you said will be remembered and shared. My wife and I had a close friend who was in a breakup and make-up relationship. The first time we took her out for drinks and commiserated with her. They got back together. We were never as close again because the boyfriend did not like that we pointed out his faults when they broke up. Story 7. Good start. Be very upfront about your feelings on the matter, what you need to get done right now, and that he will either understand or leave. I would lend him the couch, but he needs to understand that it is crunch time for you. Story 8. Forget him and stay out of it. Do not even extend a hand if he ends up on the streets. There are 100 options that do not involve cheating. He chose the worst possible choice, and he can live with those choices. Story 9. Be brutally honest with him. Say, you made a mistake, and I am only here for you so you can find a place to get back on your feet. But you must include something along the lines of, I deeply care about you, if you feel that way. Your friend needs friendship right now, not just honesty. Once honesty is established, ask what they need and do what you can. Story 10. Forget him and go help the actual victim, his wife. Tell her he is a loser and that she deserves better. She should not let her self-esteem be reduced by your friend. She gave a lot to a committed marriage to someone who did not want to give it back, so she is probably shaken up and feeling horrible. I know he is your friend, but he has to take accountability. Also, he tried hitting on some of your girlfriends. Just block him until you finish your exams. Then worry about him later. His problems are not your priority right now. Story 11. From the further comments, it sounds like there are more nuances to their relationship. One thing I would comment on, though, is that he hit on some of your girlfriends. I am not sure he values you as a boyfriend as much as you value him. Story 12. You need to tell him you are focusing on your studies and cannot actively support him at the moment, but you are still his friend if you are. Story 13. Stay out of it. Seriously, you have no idea how this will play out, and you do not invite drama into your house. Story 14. You do not support him. You tell him he made a major mistake. He needs therapy to understand what issues caused him to cheat, and offer marriage counseling to his wife if he wants to reconcile. You make him stay at a low-cost motel or wherever else he can afford, but you do not let him play the victim or support him with a place to stay. Sometimes friends are the ones who hold a mirror up and say you need to change. Story 15. Man, this is a tough one. Being between a rock and a hard place is certainly no fun. I'm not much for remembering lines from movies because I normally like to be passive and just be entertained, but I thought one of the most telling lines was from one of the Harry Potter movies where a character tells a young student, "It doesn't take courage to stand up to the enemy. It takes real courage to stand up to your friend." It seems that if it is in your friend's best interest, you have to be a sounding board that promotes true, honest, and sincere change in their life. Otherwise, they risk repeating the same behavior. It's apparent you don't like seeing your friend hurt, just as any of us would not like to see our friend hurt. But are you really helping them if you don't help them address their issues? Good luck and just do what you think is best. Story 16. Stay out of it. Do not offer him a place to stay. Let him work out the problem that he caused. Tell him you must focus on your exams and cannot have distractions. When exams are over, you can meet for lunch if he wants to talk. You can still be his friend, but do not be an enabler. If you meet later to talk and he starts blaming her or complaining about how bad his life is, remind him that he caused his issues. Story 17. That is not your problem, brother. Laugh at him for messing things up and tell him he can stay for 2 days. Set firm boundaries. Tell him you do not have time for all his nonsense. Story 18. Guess he should have thought about the consequences of his actions. Or is it someone else's fault? I feel no pity, and neither should you. Story 19. Tell him that if he wants to save his marriage, it will take time. Explain that you want to be there for him after exams, but he needs to find some place to live while his wife cools down. Nothing will be fixed this week. Now get off Reddit and go study. Story 20. If he was having an affair, he should have had his plan together while he still had the fullness of time, worked out and ready to deploy when it inevitably all came out. He is a failure and will only take you down with him. He needs to take responsibility for what he has done. The fact she has borderline personality disorder is neither here nor there. He picked her, he did what he did, and doing that without an exit plan, well, that is on him. Story 21. Original poster. I will start by saying I agree with the general sentiment here. Let him deal with it. Distant and minimal support seems best. My main reason for commenting is that I want to commend you for doing what you can to be the friend he needs. You are facing your own important issues, yet you are reaching out for advice on what you can do for him with your limited resources. Protect that part of yourself. People will take every bit they can get and come back for more. When you carefully guard your generosity, you will be able to give freely when it truly matters. Your intent is to be a good person, and that speaks volumes. Story 22. Everyone here is saying hang him out to dry, but my honest worry is that he has probably never felt lower. If he feels like he has no one, he may do something he cannot take back. You do not need to tell him that he did not mess up, or that he is in the right, or even forgive him, but he does need to know that someone cares about him and wants him here and alive. I lost a dear friend to suicide a few years ago after his infidelity came to light. Was he a perfect person? Absolutely not. He was not always a good friend. But I wish he knew that there are people who love and care about him who did not need him to be perfect, but needed him to be here. Story 23. I understand. I have a best friend who I would move mountains for, even if he makes mistakes. He needs to hear the truth from you. Do not sugarcoat it. He is behaving poorly and needs to reflect on why he thinks his behavior is acceptable. Set your boundaries and tell him he can stay, but he needs to be quiet so you can focus on your exams. As a side note, what has he done to prove that he sees you as a friend, let alone a best friend? It sounds like this is a one-sided relationship. If he flirts with your girlfriends, he does not respect you. Story 24. Many people have said it, his actions have consequences. If he is actually a good person making bad choices, he will shape up. Tell him you do not have the mental or physical space for him right now. He should have acted responsibly if he wanted to be with his wife or at least had a plan in case cheating went wrong. If you told him not to make this mistake, remind him of that. Part of growing up is recognizing when you have made a mistake and knowing how to correct it or endure the consequences. If he figures it out and comes back to you or his wife, at least you can hope he has learned something. If he throws a tantrum and cuts you off for not coddling him, good riddance. Story 25. Unless you are the person he was cheating on, I would say let it be. Do not try to interfere in other people's problems. He created the situation, so he has to deal with it now. Story 26. Well done. I do not think you could have been a better friend. People have to accept the consequences of their actions. Story 27. If he is opposed to therapy, you might try to get him to go to a Sex Addicts Anonymous meeting. Obviously, his sexual urges are getting out of hand and ruining his life. Story 28. Reading the angry, sometimes mean responses here makes it clear that I am not in sync with the Reddit community. First, before some of the angry people here attack me as defending the person, I have been married for 38 years and have no sympathy for people who cheat on their partners. So disregard it if you think otherwise. Now that that is out of the way, I am dumbfounded by how cruel people are here. This person is your friend. You want to help them. A friend in need is a friend indeed. If I were you, I would ignore the people who tell you to abandon your friend because of the mistakes they made. All of us need friends who are willing to help us when we make mistakes. If I were in your shoes, I would do what I can, as long as it does not disrupt my life. In other words, if you think you will make worse grades on your exams because you let them sleep on your couch, then by all means, tell them to go elsewhere until your exams are over. But I would be supportive and helpful. I would try to help them understand that the mistake they made is causing these problems. I would do what every religion in the world has told its people to do. Do unto others as you wish they would do unto you. If I had made a huge mistake, I hope I would at least have a friend or two who would be there for me and try to help me, instead of having everyone turn on me like the Reddit community wants you to turn on this friend. Story 29. A best friend would first scold him for messing up this grand opportunity and give him a day to let it sink in. Story 30. Hate to say it, but principles need to be bigger than friends. I would not support a cheater, no matter who they were to me. Story 31. You cannot really get involved. Nothing you say will make her take him back. And if that is your idea, it will backfire when he messes up again. The best thing to do is make something up that sets a firm time frame for him staying with you. Something as simple as, cool, you can stay, but I have family coming to visit for a couple of weeks in a week. Gives him time to find somewhere to stay while you remain a friend. Story 32. If you have a family, spouse, or significant other living with you, do not bring him into your home, as he may poach your partner. It will cause too much stress in your life. He needs to face the consequences himself. Does he have family he can stay with, like his parents or siblings? He should get a hotel for a couple of days and then return home immediately. He needs to work things out with his wife. If he has not been physically involved with another woman, she should be somewhat forgiving. You need to talk to her and assure her that he has not fully cheated, though emotional cheating is still cheating. It is different from physical infidelity. Understandably, she is very upset. He needs to reflect on himself, prioritize, identify what he is lacking, and address it. At this point, he should be on full probation with full transparency. She should have access to his phone at all times, Use tracking apps like Life 360 and hold him fully accountable. If he has decided to end the relationship, then proceed with divorce. But do not allow him to stay more than a couple of nights, and do not leave him alone with anyone else. He should only be there when you are present. Never trust anyone with your partner or family. Story 33. If he is really your best friend, I am not sure what the hesitation is about. I cannot imagine telling one of my friends to go away because I have exams coming up. I am also surprised by how many men here are telling you to turn your back on him. My closest friends are like brothers to me, and I know they would be there for me if I were going through something. I feel bad for some of the men here who do not seem to have those kinds of friends. Story 34. We do foolish things to deflect from real problems that we need to address. Is he unpleasant? Absolutely. But we do what we can to help friends. True friends, sometimes they realize they might need someone after they have already burned the bridge. We do not always want to be the bigger person, but sometimes we should. We could potentially save a life. Story 35. It's amusing how people think that sending text messages today is cheating. It makes me roll my eyes. In the past, cheating was only considered cheating when you actually cheated. If he has a car, then he can live in his car. You are not responsible for housing him, no matter how much of a friend you have been. He should have acted as if he had no idea what was going on. Obviously, he is not happy with his wife, and this is the result of that reality. Story 36. Why would you be friends with someone like him in the first place? I hope you did not know about all that, because if you did, you are just as much at fault as he is for not telling his wife about it. Story 37. He was sincere and troubled, but I offered little sympathy. When do we ever get sympathy? When do we expect sympathy? The old boy just needed a warm, safe place to lay his head and got neither. Thanks for nothing, friend. Next time he is in a jam, he knows not to bother calling you. If you are ever in a jam, remember how you treated him. Story 38. This thread explains why I will always be very selective with emotional relationships. Most people see relationships as financial contracts, so it is best to cut all ties. I often feel naive to believe others view relationships as something more than that. I am learning to trust again, but not anyone with that worldview. I must avoid drama. Anyone who views me negatively will never be a real part of my life. I will make sure of it. Story 39. Buddy, you are a terrible friend. Maybe you and I have different definitions of friendship, but I won't let my strict morals get in the way of actually being a good friend. I understand that everybody makes mistakes, myself included. I'm sure you've messed up too. Why choose to be this saint now? You bring up that he tried to flirt with some of your girlfriends, but you already forgave him for that. Why bring that up now when he needs help? Was the entire friendship after those events just you waiting to say no to helping him when he's in a situation that needs your support? If that's the case, then say that. But if you genuinely considered this man your friend, what you are doing now is sad. Final exams, buddy, don't take up 99% of your day to simply call your friend. Maybe offer him to stay for a night or two and still do your final exams. I was in university for some time. I'm not sure what your major is, but no student studies 100% of their time. You literally went out of your way to make a Reddit post. Just be a good friend, man. There are not too many left these days. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.